Hello, welcome to today's devotional. I hope your week is going well. Today we're in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 10, and we continue to work down through this chapter that is wisdom speaking to us, and it's using the personification of wisdom as a woman calling out to us to come and grow in wisdom and become wise, and so it's saying something that's a repeat of an idea that has been presented already in an earlier chapter of Proverbs. And there's a couple places where this happens, and it's for emphasis sake. And it's also to look at things from a slightly different angle each time. But there's an emphasis here that's meant to be there. And so as we work our way through the book of Proverbs, we're looking at each individual verse. I don't want to just skip over the repeating verses because they're there for a purpose. And so we'll read it here, verse 10, and we'll see the emphasis. And then tomorrow, it's actually going to say the same thing again from a slide, or tomorrow the next verse, whenever we get to it, whether it's tomorrow or next week. It'll say the same kind of thing again, but once again from a little bit of a different angle. And so we'll look at that. But the emphasis is important. And so when we understand the book of Proverbs as being a book in the Bible that's God giving us wisdom, and that it's meant to give us things to think about, not just simply statements to simply adopt, but to explore and to think about them and how do I apply them? How do I understand the depths of them? And so by the emphasizing them over again, it encourages to go down that road again and think about it again. Right, okay, how do I apply that? Now here's today's verse. It's wisdom speaking to you, to me, and saying this. Take my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choicest gold. So, she's not saying that the two are mutually exclusive, that you can't have both wisdom and silver. But it's saying that of the two, if you have to choose one, well, choose instruction rather than silver, choose knowledge rather than gold. In particular, this wisdom, that form of knowledge, just not just anything, but this is the idea. And so it's setting up not in order to say that there is a dichotomy, but rather that one is more valuable, more important than the other. And so that's emphasized in verse 11, which we'll deal with next time. But here's that idea. What is it you want in life most? Where are your goals? Where do you want to go? You ever hear the saying? This was popular back a couple of decades ago. The saying, give a man a fish and he'll live for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll live for whatever, forever, however the statement goes. But it contrasts to the idea of giving him a fish versus teaching him how to fish, and that there was a greater value in knowing how to catch your own fish than there wasn't simply being given a fish. And so in a way, this proverb is kind of like that. It's like saying the value of having silver versus knowing how to get silver, for instance, or the having anything, like the having of a valuable thing versus the understanding of how to live in the world and take care of yourself and move forward and be good. And all, I mean, there's no comparison. One is way better than the other. And so that's kind of the emphasis here, is that it's better. And so it uses silver and gold in particular, because of the high value of those two items. And so when the proverb is saying that it's comparing wisdom to these precious metals, and in the next verse is going to go even further to jewels, but these precious things, really valuable. But this, wisdom is even more valuable than that. So for your devotional today, think about this. When you think about people's life pursuits, the things they want to acquire in life, people might make a bucket list of things or that they want before they die, or things they want to achieve or whatever. And often on that list, there's things like, I want to make whatever. I want to make a bunch of money, $1 million, or I want to set a world record, or I want to, I want to be really well known. I want to be a household name, or I want to have a family. I want to have a beautiful wife and kids, or I want to get my degree in such and such a thing. And there's all these things that people may list of things they would like to achieve, achievements they'd like to experiences they'd like to collect, and whatever else. And there's lots of things that when we think about that, not just the bucket list, but just the life plans of a young person, for instance. Looking into your future, and you're thinking, well, I'd like to go to school here or there, and I'd like to gain this career or that career, and I want to own my own car, and I want to, there's all these things we want to do. We set goals, and this is the point. You set goals in your life of where you're going to point your life and go, and what you're going to go after. And I guess this proverb is saying to you that you can get all those things, but if in the pursuit of all those things, you don't ever set as a goal, I want to be a wise man, um, then you're missing the mark. You're getting something that's not really worth it. This is more important than that. And yet, if you think about yourself or other people you've known, how often is it that you hear anyone say that? Like how often do you hear a young person say, I want to really be a wise man. I want to, as I become an adult, I want to be a wise adult. Well, I've never heard a young person say that, but that's such an important thing, and it's just missing in our society. We don't encourage kids to pursue that. We as adults, we realize the value of wisdom, but we don't pursue it. It's not something we set it as an agenda of how do I get there? What do I Instead, we look to acquire silver and gold and all sorts of other treasures, but we don't actively think of how can I move myself forward. Now, if you're watching this video, I mean, by accident, that's one thing. But if you've been, let me say it this way: if you have been watching these videos and you're pursuing wisdom through the book of Proverbs, well, good for you. You've set that goal. You're trying to move toward that. I would say the the Proverbs writers would say to you, "Good job. You're doing good. That's it. Pursue wisdom." It should be a goal in every human mind. It should be in our minds more valuable than all of the securities I can find in wealth and accomplishment and status and everything else. And that's just the point here. Now, next time we'll go to verse 11, and when we do verse 11, it'll sound like the same subject again, and it is the same subject, but it's going to sound like the same thing said again. But it's just to emphasize a little deeper the importance of this idea. So this will be a short one today, and we'll come back next time and we'll do verse 11 and go a little deeper. In the meantime, God bless. Have a great weekend. If I can, I'll be on tomorrow, but if not, it'll be Tuesday. And we'll see you then. Take care.